أَوَلَا يَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا يُسِرُّونَ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ।
তারা কি এতটুকু জানে না যে আল্লাহ যেসব বিষয় পরিজ্ঞাত, যা তারা গোপন করে এবং যা প্রকাশ করে?
أَوَلَا يَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا يُسِرُّونَ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ. Next ayah. Don't they know Allah already knows what they're hiding and what they're announcing? Don't they already know that? You know why? Now, by the way, do they know Allah knows everything? Yes. They know this. This is a very basic, there's not a scholarly thing to know Allah knows everything. But why are they oblivious to that? The knowledge of Allah. What did Allah mention 2 ayat before? What was their problem? Ghafla. When you become this ghafil, this heedless, then even the most basics that will lead you to iman and fearing Allah will disappear from your heart. Even though you may have volumes of books memorized. كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا, like donkeys carrying volumes of books, right? That can happen. Now, this was the last ayah I wanted to share with you, and now inshallah ta'ala what I want to share with you is a warning. Bani Israel, I said this before as well, but I'll repeat, this is worth repeating. These ayat are not just for us to look down on the Israelites and say, those kuffar, what losers. You know? These ayat are there, Allah gave us these ayat, because at the conclusion of these ayat, we're being told, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We're being made the ummah. Here are the failures of the previous people who held this position. Congratulations, you're day one on the job. What is the point of telling you the failures of the previous employee? So you don't make those mistakes. So you don't become those people. You don't embody those characteristics. You have among the Muslims those who will refuse to learn about Islam or refuse to open their mouth because they'll say, if I say it, I'll be responsible. I'd rather remain blissfully ignorant. Right? This blissful ignorance is what they were talking about. Remain blissfully ignorant. Don't open your mouth about anything that Allah will make a case against you on. Don't just keep your mouth shut. The lesser you know, the better. The lesser you expose, the better. Muslims have taken up this position. And then on top of this, I tell you, in our context, it's scary, but we have to think about these things in these terms. The world around us is asking questions of Islam. They're asking questions of, about jihad fi sabilillah, or the concept of taqiyya, or wala and bara. And they're asking questions about the hadith, or they're asking questions about why your messenger goes into battles, or what's with this polygamy, or these inheritance laws that are so unfair towards women. And they're asking us all these questions, right? If we keep our mouth shut, and we don't clarify the answers while fearing none but Allah, if we don't answer these questions honestly, with integrity, while fearing Allah, then we are no different than the nation who came before us, who didn't used to answer, who didn't say what they had. They were holding on to the treasure Allah gave them, but they held it. They didn't share it. Allah gave us this treasure so it could be shared. And the fact that people are asking us these questions, even if they're asking us with the most malicious intent, the non-Muslims, a lot of times, they ask us these questions not because they want to learn, but because they want to humiliate Islam. That's their agenda. But even if they ask for the most malicious intent, our job is to still respond with integrity. We have to respond with integrity. And if our ummah doesn't respond with integrity, then we are no different than the nation that came before us. We're no different than them. These traits that Allah is giving us of their characteristics, may Allah Azza wa Jal protect us, and especially the knowledgeable among us, to not fall into these things. Their cowardice, they were cowardly. Their knowledgeable were cowardly. They were afraid of accepting the truth that was in front of them. And if that happens to our knowledgeable people, if our scholars, our people of knowledge, our leaders, they are afraid to speak the truth, they're afraid to stand up for what will benefit people. If they start compromising this deen for the sake of, there's a maslahah in not clarifying Allah's book. If we start doing that, then we are no different from these people. This warning has gone to waste. In this regard, us not being fully honest in what Allah Azza wa Jal has revealed. A lot of times people say that, we shouldn't talk about certain ayat of the Qur'an, because these are politically sensitive times. Right? So we should be cautious when we speak about certain things. Let me tell you something. Everything that Allah has said in His book, everything, nothing is controversial. The only thing the problem is our understanding. That's the only problem. If we were honest to this book, wallahi, nobody would look at the interpretation of this book and say this is barbaric, or this is inhumane, or these are terrorists, look at their book. Nope. That's the last thing they would say. The only reason they say these things is we haven't explained our book to them. That's the only reason they say these things. We should have confidence in our book. Allah didn't give us something that's hard to explain. Allah gave us something that appeals to the human intellect. Allah gave us something that is beneficial to all of humanity. So when we explain it with integrity, then all what you think is a controversy is removed. It's relieved. Then you will realize how Allah has given us the key to real civilization. Not just for us, but for all of humanity. This is what Allah has given us. So we need to stop being, cowardly about what our book says. We need to engage it with full honesty. And this is a very, very difficult thing to do in our times. I know it's difficult, but it's something we have to do. And it's something, inshallah ta'ala, if we get an opportunity, I don't think it's going to happen in Ramadan, but if you go through all of Surah Baqarah, you just have no option but to expose Allah's book. You can't have an ounce of iman left inside you and have the courage, the audacity to not speak about Allah's book. I've actually given khutbah one time about Surah Al-Ahzab. And Surah Al-Ahzab is supposed to be one of the controversial surahs, right? So I gave khutbah and somebody came up to me, brother, use wisdom. Don't talk about those ayat. And let me ask you, can you take a highlighter for me and just tell me which ayat are wisdom and which are not, so I be careful next time? Right? All of Wal-Qur'an al-Hakim, the Qur'an full of wisdom. Our job is to clarify. And I tell you, wallahi, today in our times, the clarification of the Qur'an is even more important for the Muslims than it is for the non-Muslims. We are not clear on the Qur'an. We're not sure what it says. We don't understand it. We don't spend the time on it. We don't seek the answers. And when we do get an answer that is not satisfactory, we don't question it. We say, no, we need to probe more. We need to research more. That's not enough. We need to dig deeper. We don't have that attitude. If we don't have that attitude towards our book, if we're not going to, study our book and present its clear understanding and interpretation, then how can you blame non-Muslims for interpreting it for us? They're going to do what they're going to do, and they only have that window of opportunity because we didn't take the opportunity. How many people would show up if we went to every public library in America and we said the Qur'an explained, a free class? You know how many people would show up? I want to know what this Quran says. It's talking about burning people and killing people and all kinds of things, right? They'll show up and let them ask their questions. This is great. That's what we're sent to do. So may Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who are able to clarify His book and not be under Allah's curse. Because those who hide Allah's book, أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. Those are the people Allah curses, and Allah created angels specifically for the only purpose of cursing people that hide Allah's book. Al-La'inun, He calls them. That's their only job, is to curse people who hide Allah's book. Not explaining this book is the same as hiding this book. Is the same as it. So all of us better become, in whatever capacity, students of this book and clarify its teachings to at least first ourselves, our families, and eventually, inshaAllah ta'ala, our co-workers, our neighbors. When they ask us questions, we should have intelligent answers. And if you don't know how to answer the question, we have our imams. We have our scholars. Go to them and give them a hard time. That's why they're here. Ask them these questions, so you know how to answer them intelligently. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us an awake ummah and really make us realize the responsibility we have to this book. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ni wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.